more and more sophisticated, right? When it comes to trying to cheating you out of your hard-earned money, right? You're gonna work hard for even $5 grand, right? You work hard to save that up. That doesn't just, it's not just gonna come at you, right? So we talked all about that. And then on page 15, I'm gonna give you that formula sheet today. So you get a formula sheet on top of your study sheet. How's that? Right? So this chart right here, I think yours is blue. No, I think yours is green. Doesn't really matter. But this chart right here is actually on the back of this formula sheet. So if you ever forget, it's going to be there. And let me see here. And they even remind you the percentages, right? If you forget what PST is 7, GST is 5. So I'm going to give this to you today. So you get to bring this if you want. That's the only thing that vehicle find that's going to help you for this unit. The rest is for the other units that we're doing. Understanding the formula. Believe it or not, I think after I teach, right, I always think about like what are some things that I could clarify. When you're buying from a dealer, parts and labor is separately here, right? And it gets taxed 12%. But sometimes parts and labor can also be considered options. Like, you know, when you do your sticker price and there's the remote starter. And so you could technically just include it here. Regardless of how you do it, you're going to tax it 12%. So don't stress over it too much. Should I put it in here or should I just add it to my sticker price? The answer is it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer. It's going to just look a little different. Okay. So here we go. Let's go to page 16. I'm trying to review things here so that you know what to do with those formulas. Okay. So page 16. I asked you to try this, didn't I? I think I did. So let's do this together though. And so some of you are just going to check off if you got it right. So Joel finds a Jeep Wrangler. I'm a little biased. I love Jeep Wranglers. For $24,900, right? It's a private sale, and it's as is, right? The book value, that's very important. The book value is $32,000. Joel pays $65 for the safety and a $30 lien search right there. If you're buying it as is, right? Like it's just, there's nothing else going to be added or taken. You can't complain if the engine dies on you the next day, right? It is what it is. Right? So figure out the total cost of purchasing the vehicle after tax. So let's do this together. Okay, use private. I'm going to use the formula. I'm going to write it down. It calls for price plus price slash book times not 1.07, right? It's 0.07 plus safety times 1.05 plus parts and labor times 1.12 plus your lien, right? You're not going to do this every time. I wouldn't expect you to write out the formula every single time, right? But for this example, it's probably a good idea. Can I just say something? If there would be parts and labor, like a bunch of repairs being done, I would do that on the side. I will show you that later on. So the price you agreed to pay for this car is $24,900. This is the price. Okay. So obviously you're going to pay that. And then, how did I do this in my, oh yeah, okay. In my notes, I'm going to do this here. The price is $24,900, right? Squeeze that in there if you can. $24,900. And the book value, that's what AutoPack has in their database, is $32,000. You can clearly tell that the $32,000 is greater, right? So we scratch that one, and it's this number that we put in here. They're going to use the book value. AutoPack is going to compare the two and be like, yeah, we're going to tax you on the 32,000. Thank you very much. Okay. Then the safety is already given, that's $65. We're going to tax that 5%. And then parts and labor, we don't have parts and labor, correct? So let's do this in our original. We're going to scratch that. There's just the lien search, which is 30, so we tack it on there. I would like to see this work when you do questions, okay? Don't just rush to the final answer. Take your time. So 24,900, we're going to clean up all the brackets now. Okay? So we go 32,000 times 0.07. That's 2240. This, AutoPack will collect this from you. They'll be like, hey, debit or credit? Right here. They're going to ask you, and you're going to pay this to AutoPack at the time of registration, right? Plus 65 times 1.05, so it's 68.25, plus the 30. So 65 times this gave me that. Yeah. Did I get a 249? This one here? Or which one are we? Oh, yeah. Yeah, good catch. Yeah. Especially on Mondays and Fridays, you gotta watch out. That's when I make my mistakes. All right. Let's add it up. And that is your final right there, including taxes. 27,238.25. That is your final answer. Okay. And so you can tell that that formula actually works every time if you use it correctly, if you know what you're supposed to do. This is a common error. And I don't want you to be the one making this mistake. Students take the 2738 and they go times 1.12, right? Which is 30,506.84. This is a big no-no, okay? So students, oops, I forgot the 0.25, but I think you still get the point, right? 0.25. Don't do this again. I've marked provincial exams and I was like, yes, perfect, beautiful. And then no, right, that extra step there, adding taxes again. That's wrong. So we need to take off a full mark if you do this. Okay? This is already including all applicable taxes. Includes all applicable taxes. So it has 7%, right? PST, it has the 5% on the safety, right? So those are all the taxes that apply. Okay. What if the question had said, how much did Joel pay in taxes alone? So there are several ways of doing this. Let me show you the one that makes it very obvious. So I'm going to take the top here. This is not taxes, right? Look at my finger here. This is not, this part is the tax part. So I'm going to copy that 2240 from here. This is the PST. Let's write that up here, PST, under the 2240. So I'm going to add that here. Then I'm going to add, can you tell how much taxes was paid here? From 65, we went to 68.25. So that's 325 in taxes. Would you agree? If you don't see it, I'm just going to ask you to do this. You multiply the 65 times 0.05. So you just want the taxes part, right? So I'm going to make an arrow on top of that. And then that's the, right, there are no more taxes. The lien doesn't get taxed. So you wouldn't worry about the 30. So that's 2240 plus 325. So that's 2243.25. So it's a little trickier with a used car figuring out the taxes. You know what? I'm going to give you a general formula here. Taxes only, you would go price slash book times 0.07 plus safety times 0.05. Yikes, it's gonna cut off, guys. But you plus, if there are parts and labor, you would multiply it by 0.12. Do you see the pattern? 0, 0, 0. That turns to 0. That turns to 0. So if you only want the taxes, you take. I'm basically basing this on the formula way up here. But lien, you don't need to worry about, right? It's basically just the sandwich part in the middle where you pay the PST, the safety, and parts and labor. So I don't know if you need to add this to your study sheet. If you understand the formula, you perhaps do not need to. But if you feel like you have to add it, then go ahead and do it. Right now you're in the scrap paper stage, perhaps, so just add it, right? And as you work through the unit, you figure out if you need to add it to your clean blue copy. All right? Okay. Let's do another one. You know what? I believe in you guys. So I'm going to ask you to do this. Try this on your own. Okay? Let's take 5 to 10 minutes. There's lots of space. If you make a mistake, there will be room to make a correction next door to it. Okay? So on page 17, I'm going to hand it over to you so you don't fall asleep on me. And try that one. All right. So let's see how you did here. Sometimes, quite often actually, I break it down into components. So that's why it's important to understand the formulas, right? This is asking for parts and labor before taxes. So it's almost like I'm just asking you to do the P and L portion of the long formula, right? So what do we need? 2 headlights that are 60 each, right? Plus 4 brakes that are 150 each, right? And then we need a new fuel pump for 190, right there. And the labor to do the repairs takes 2 hours, and it's $65 per hour. So we would have to go 2 times 65. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if you've done dots before like that, but that's times in math. I don't know if I should just turn it into, otherwise you might, yeah, times is fine, like that. So, right, I'm kind of adding everything up. Can I just say something? Sometimes the labor is in like decimal, so 2.75 hours or whatever, or 2.5 hours, right? Then you would just make this a 2.5 and so forth, right? Don't let that throw you off. And then we have 120. This is 600, 190, and this is 130, right? And if you add it all up, that's 1,040 That's before taxes, right? That's what it asked here. So this is before taxes. Okay, very important that you understand the difference of saying before or after tax, right? So that's technically all that I wanted there. So I'm kind of asking you to do parts and labors on the side. And then it says, what's the total cost to purchase the car after tax? Let's just go back and understand that we've covered new car and used car. And this is a private sale, so we definitely know that this is a used private, right? That should tell you we're going to have to use the private sale formula. And the used private is, we're agreeing to pay $9,500 for this. In this bracket, you need to pick between the book or the car value. And you see that the book value is greater, so the 10 grand goes in here. What if this had been 12 grand? Let's say 12 grand, and then what would go in here? Not the 10, the 12 grand, right? If it's greater, then this price shows up twice. So you got to be prepared for it. Times 0.07 plus, was there a safety check? Yeah, it's $40. That gets taxed GST. That's you. Plus parts and labor. I'm just going to transfer that number in here and I tax it 12%, right? So this number followed me in there. And plus, is there lien? No lien. Okay, never mind. Don't go off script here, right? Yeah, so that's it. That's all that would be required. So if you made a mistake up here, you would potentially still get full marks for this step, right? And I actually would like to see this number show up here because that tells me you understand what needs to be done. 9,500 plus 700, 700 plus 42 plus 1,164.80. And now we can add it all up. That gives you 11,406 and 80 cents. Is that how are you doing there? What's that? Do we have more people disagreeing? Because I could have made a mistake. We're getting this? Okay. Just double check, yeah. And if it's still not working, I'll come and see you, okay? Now it's once the total tax is paid. Total tax is paid after the repairs and the purchase. So basically, right, this here includes the purchase and the repairs, right? This has everything in it. So taxes, let me do it the long way here. This is probably the long way, but that's okay. At least we'll get it right. Okay, so I take my safety, I just tack on I just want the 5%, and I take the 1,040 and I just multiply it by 0.12. Okay, and so that gives me 700 bucks. And this actually gives $2, right? And this here gives me 124.80. Okay, so if you add all those up, you get 826.80 paid in taxes. Did you know that when you go to the grocery store, that most like raw products are not taxed at all? Have you ever realized that? Your bill could be 200 and something dollars, and your taxes is only $3. So only fully processed items get taxed. So any vegetables, milk, meat, it's tax free. So when you have the save the tax event at Superstore, people rush in, right? Unless you're buying a TV or something like that, like you're not going to save a whole lot. Right? So there's my picking on the big companies trying to take advantage of maybe people not knowing what is taxed. Are we good? Okay. Looking at the time, I can fly through this, but I don't like to fly through examples. I'd like you to kind of try it first. And I kind of designed it in such a way that you should be able to do things on your own as we go through it. I don't know if you've realized that. Yes, sometimes I do throw some curveballs, so read carefully. But I'm going to ask you to spend a little bit more time on page 18. And I don't give this very often, so make sure you take advantage of it. And once I've give you enough time, we'll fill in this pros and cons in the back, right? Of buying a used car versus buying a car from a dealer, right? So buying from a dealer versus privately, I should say. And that'll be the end of today. And for the weekend, I'm going to assign some of these questions for you to try. And I will post the answer key as well. So, in case you were sleeping as I was talking, just work on page 18 right now. Okay, that's your task. Work on page 18. I will be walking around, so stop me if you're not sure. But I think you can handle that, right, on a Friday? Okay. This is the deal, okay? I will take the rest of today to just go over this, make sure we understand, and if there's any mistake, right, we fix it today. And that means that the pros and cons, I'm going to just post this on Google Classroom and expect you to fill that in. So when it's all said and done, it looks like this, right? Like it has components filled in. A lot of it you will already know, but I do ask on tests or ACs, there's always one or two or more of these that are worth 1 mark. So let's say on a test there's 4 explain, state and explain. 4 out of 40, that's 10%, right? So I will post that so you take the time to fill this in over the weekend at some point, okay? And on top of that, I already posted the key to the worksheet here. So you can try more questions, right? Okay, let's do this. So most of you are just gonna sit back and relax and enjoy the show for this one, right? Because of all the parts and labor, I'm gonna highlight all my parts and labor, right? The diagnostic, right? They plug in this reader into your car, and it reads any potential errors or issues that your car might have. That's parts and labor, though. Engine work, it's $50 an hour for 3.5 hours. You need 4 new shocks for $82 each, and that would be my parts and labor. I will just do that right away. Parts and labor would be 90 plus 650 plus 3.5 hours times $50 an hour. That's a very cheap rate, by the way. You don't get that anymore. Canadian Tire is like what? Anybody know? I think it's like over $100 an hour for labor. Okay, so I do all the labor myself on my cars, and yes, I do make mistakes, and it's still cheaper fixing the mistake. So here's all the parts and labor. I'll break it down. Don't worry, I'm not gonna sing. Break it down, right? Not gonna happen. 1243, right? This is before tax. Very important that you understand that. I will not be adding the taxes because I will do that on my formula, right? Don't double tax, don't double charge yourselves. So I hope you got that part. And it's a private sale. So here we go. Use private. I'm paying $16,500 for it. And which one is higher? 16,500. So just if book value, all of that, right, aside, just which one is bigger? So the book value is just there to look pretty, right? Doesn't do anything. Not used at all in any calculation. So there we go. Plus, I always forget the order that I give you the formula. I think it's safety, right? Safety, we tack on 5% to that one, plus parts and labor, that gets taxed 12%. Is there a lien search? There is one. So this is like a full-blown example, right? Every possible component is thrown at you here. 16,500 times 7%, that is 1,155. That's 63. This part here is 1,392.16 plus 20. There we go. Almost done. Add it all up, 19,130.16 cents. That's how much you will have paid in total. When you put everything in the bag, right? That's how much you would have paid, including taxes, after tax. So don't double tax, all right? I did do a challenge here. If you want to try it out, taxes only. If, let's say, they asked us to come out with how much should you pay in taxes only, here's the answer if you're up for it. That is 1,307.16 cents, right? If you want to figure that out, maybe when you review, sometimes when you review, it's like, hey, let's try it. Let's see if I can do it, right? We've done one or two already, so we'll just leave it. Then we have Christina is considering to purchase a used Dodge Challenger from the local dealership. Okay, so it's used, but it's from a dealer. So watch out, right? Calculate the total purchase price after tax. Here's what I will do. When it comes to a dealership, you got to go back to the sticker, right? So I will say that this here would definitely be, those would be options, right? Just identifying that. So the sticker would be 27,850 plus 386 plus 499. There's no freight, there's no PDI, air tax, none of that, right? So just forget about it. And so the sticker here would be 28,735. Regardless of how you did it, that is your sticker price. Okay, and so I'm going to go use dealer. I didn't give you a lot of room here, did I? My bad. I'm going to go sticker minus, there is a trade-in, so 5,980, and I multiply that by 1.12 plus, there's a safety check, so I got to go 75 times 1.05. So I got that figured out. There's, sorry, safety. Lien is 45, so I'm going to tack that on the back. And you might ask, what about parts and labor, Mr. Dirks? What's up with that? Couldn't this fit the parts and labor category? It could, yes. But we already included that in our sticker, so I'm not going to add it again. So that's why I tell you, understand your formulas, right? So either you do it in parts and labor, or you do it under the sticker, but not both. Regardless, you're going to tax at 12%. Okay? Does that make sense? If you double charge, it happens, right? We're not going to sweat it. So times 1.12 plus 75 times 1.05 is 78.75 plus 45. I don't like when it's that tight, but sometimes I miscalculate when I make these booklets. 25,609.35. Grand total to be paid. Okay. If I asked, what is the total cost including the trade-in? That's when you add the trade-in, right? So on the ACs, I saw some of you going that extra step. Just watch for including trade-in. Other than that, don't worry about it. Determine the taxes paid. No problem. Watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go 25 485.6 times what? Not 1.12, 0.12, correct? That's the trick. That's the trick. Plus 75 times, not 1.05, but 0.05. I don't know if you want to bracket like that. And Leon doesn't pay any taxes, so I don't need to worry about it. So here it is. I'm just going to give you the answer. That's 2736.60, this part, plus, you can tell, right? It's 375. Like if you just look from 75, you went to 78.75. And your final answer will have dollar signs, right? Taxes only. This is taxes only. This is including tax. I don't know if you want to highlight, but where did I get this number from? Right, this one here. It came right there. And the 75, right, 75 came from right there. And there's no lien search. So there's no taxes on lien search. So don't worry about that one. Give one reason. Christina should purchase a similar vehicle privately. The main one is she would save in taxes since she would only pay PST, which is 7%. Okay, that's one good reason. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? So that tells me you took the course. Don't just say it's cheaper, right? Doesn't tell me whether or not you took the course. Right? This is another one. She will be able to negotiate a lower price. Since owners don't have a bottom line. Did you know that? Dealerships, whether you like it or not, they have on their system, they know how much they paid for it. They want to make sure they make at least a little bit of money. even though they tell you I'm losing on this one, they might tell you that they're not losing. Trust me. Anyways, thank you guys.